Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Sharifa, and my poetry name is Nulali. Y'all, I don't even know if I really want to do the intro because I don't even know that this video is going to be uploaded. Obviously, if you're hearing it, then I did decide to upload it. But I've already said recently that I don't want to keep uploading these videos to YouTube. I only want to upload the ones that are pertinent. You know, the ones that contain documentation that I feel are necessary for my protection, advocation of me, etc. There's some of these videos, it's like, things that I want to address, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to upload it to YouTube. I've had a couple videos like that I've made. Most of the videos I have on YouTube right now, I feel like I want them there. Like I keep looking through and I can't even find one that I would want to delete. But there have been videos I've created, ones that I ended up deleting actually, where I just felt like, I don't need it on YouTube. It's not necessary to have it there, but there's something I wanted to address. Like you're constantly being gang stalked, constantly seeing subliminal messages and things. And you know how it is when you're a target. You have a lot of people against you. There's a big target on your back. You're perpetually misunderstood. Constantly false perceptions of you and your situation. And then also, too, a lot of people watching you with a critical, judgmental eye who are not walking in your shoes. So it's very frustrating, y'all. And I'm sure if you're targeted, you understand. I'm saying this like I'm talking to the targets, but again, I don't even know if I'll be uploading this. But still, um, I'm just gonna speak like I am speaking to y'all because I might upload. I'm not sure. This happened before. I know y'all have heard a couple of videos like that where I said I'm not sure if I'm gonna upload it, but if you're hearing it, then I did upload it. Because typically when I make these videos and then I listen back, I like it enough that I'm like, well, damn, I do actually want to upload it. But, I don't want to keep uploading the targeted individual stuff unless it's stuff that, like I said, is pertinent. And I feel like it contains information that I want there, like documentation. I don't need to keep uploading these videos, man. But there are things I want to address, and so that's what this video is really. Something that happened a little while ago. Again, y'all, I'm at work. I told y'all I worked the night shift, right? I'm doing security, been doing it for the last few months now, since the end of last year. So it's just one of those moments. I was on Facebook, minding my business as usual. That's the crazy thing about this program. It's like they call you narcissistic, right? They throw the moniker narcissist on you, or they throw the word thirsty at you, or they throw the word attention seeker at you. When typically targets are trying to stay out of the way, you're trying to get away from the stalking and the excessive attention that they're throwing your way that you don't want. And all they keep doing is constantly obsessively focusing on you, doing things to antagonize you, and then gaslighting you about your reaction. And then making it like you're thirsty, right? Or you're an attention seeker or you're a narcissist when it's reactive abuse. You're reacting to the abuse that you're receiving. Most targets that I listen to are begging for the shit to stop. They want to be left alone. That's how I feel. Y'all, I'm just trying to stay positive and optimistic, and even that's a problem. If you check out my part 1 episode, parts 1, 2, and 3, excuse me, y'all. Not episodes, what am I saying? My parts 1, 2, and 3, the recent videos I made, y'all. Episode at the gym, I think is what it's called. What was it called? Episode at the gym and dating while targeted, I think is what it's called. If you check out those 3 videos, you'll hear how I was minding my business, y'all. I'm not even doing the things I'm used to doing because I'm targeted. I'm used to being active. I'm used to working multiple jobs. I'm used to teaching. I'm used to, like being out there in school, something productive. I'm only doing security at night and then to keep myself busy during the daytime because I'm not the kind of person that just likes to lay on my ass. And also, too, they're targeting you and staring at you and making noises all day. So I'd rather be doing something productive than laying there while they're doing it. I'm getting up and I'm going to gym, and even that's a problem. I'm minding my business, y'all. I'm getting up. I'm getting dressed. I'm standing to catch taxi because I don't have a vehicle at the moment. I'm being polite to everybody I encounter. I'm going to the gym and I'm working out, and even that's a problem. I told y'all what happened in the parts 1, 2, and 3 video that created them shutting down the taxi system. They literally attacked me with an insect drone in the gym, right? Because of a song that was playing that they've heard me listening to for the last few months every time I work out. So all of a sudden, randomly, they attacked me with the insect drone when that song played. And coincidentally enough, that day I lifted heavier. Remember I told you I was excited because I lifted or I squatted 140? You know, it's like they don't like seeing me happy. I told y'all already when I was in the kitchen, I was dancing, you know, because I had gained a few pounds and they were diving the insect drone in my face. So I'm like, what the hell? You're talking about I'm a narcissist or I'm a seeking attention when all I'm trying to do is stay out the way and mind my business and be productive, and you're constantly antagonizing me and harassing me and seeking my attention. You understand the craziness and the hypocrisy of it all? You're seeking my attention with the things that you're doing and the tactics that you're using, and you're making it like I'm the one that's seeking attention. You're driving by slow. You're staring at me obsessively, trying to get my attention instead of going home and resting your body. It's in the early AM. I'm here working. That's the reason I'm up right now. You're out your house in your vehicle, driving slowly. I'm talking about the gang stalkers on the road right now because one just drove by me real slow. Driving by slow, trying to get my attention. Instead of taking your ass home and rest in your body, say your prayers and go to bed, take a bath and sleep. You're on the road howling, trying to get attention from me. And I'm the one that's seeking attention. You understand the craziness of this program? It's ludicrous, y'all. This program is ludicrous. It's crazy. Anyways, let me get to the point, y'all, because you know I could freaking vent about this shit all day. I could look, we have somebody now on a little motorbike. You know, he could not have been far. They had to have had him on ready, y'all. They had this man on standby. They had this man in this motorbike, right? That's revving by now because I said what I said and I'm making sense. They had him on standby, y'all. He's revving by now. Mind you, let me tell you the time, y'all. You see the time, right? It's 3:32 a.m. in the morning. They had him on standby, and I know they're not paying him good. If they're paying him to do this, they are not paying him good. You are not getting much money to sit on your bike all night, to be ready to rev by at certain moments, to antagonize an innocent individual because you're holding a grudge. I know they're not paying you well. Go home and rest your body. Park your bike up, say your prayers, get on your knees, take a bath, lay in your bed, go to sleep. That's what you need to do. It's crazy, man. This thing is weird. It's like some sort of weird spiritual element to this thing, y'all. I'm telling you. It's a weird-ass, creepy-ass program. And the person who created it was a diabolical genius. You know he worked for the Nazis, right? That's where this program was used. It's designed after the Eastern German policing system. This is what they were using to control dissidents in that society. And obviously that was an authoritarian society. So for them to emulate that program that was created by a diabolical genius, that says a lot. That's creepy. Anyways, let me be careful though, y'all, because even if I'm right, it doesn't matter how right I am. It's not about right or wrong anymore. What it's about is power. And again, I'm not anti-government. I'm not anti-the police. I have to keep saying that because they keep trying to lie and paint that false narrative, and that's not the case. Never been in trouble in my life. Never had an issue with law enforcement. I attempted to join law enforcement in 2021. I documented that in one of my prior videos too, y'all. I forget which one it was. What, if you want to check it out, because now this is the second time I'm referencing that. It was a recent-ish video. I created it about 2 or 3 months ago. I got backlash for making that video too. But that was, what video was that? I think it was our targeted individuals, victims of neuromonitoring-induced sleep apnea. Excuse me, I need to blow my nose, y'all. It was either that video, where I did talk about it in that video, as a matter of fact. What happened when I tried to become an auxiliary officer in 2021. I documented what happened in that video. And then the video right after, the 4-hour video where you see the thumbnail of me in the white t-shirt with the short pants on. I don't remember the title of that second video. But in both videos, I talked in detail about what happened when I tried to become an auxiliary officer in 2021. So understand I have no issue with law enforcement. There are even videos, I don't remember which ones, where I showed y'all that I was in communication with an Air Force officer, sergeant, right before my targeting started, before I came home in 2020, right before I graduated. I was considering being an officer in the Air Force, and I was in communication with a sergeant. And the only reason that didn't go through is because I decided to become a teacher instead. When I saw the process that it would take and all the testing and stuff, I was like, it doesn't make sense. I'm about to graduate. I have all these offers at the time. I wasn't targeted yet. I had several opportunities. And so I was like, let me just go with the teacher thing, right? And I wanted to do both, but I was like, okay, nah. I just decided not to take that route. But I've never had an issue with law enforcement, like how they try to paint it, or the government. I've always been respectful of officers and officials. I've never had an issue. So they keep trying to paint this false narrative. It's not true. My issue is with this program. My issue is with the illegal covert harassment, the illegal covert surveillance, them microchipping me without my consent. It's equivalent to rape. It is. That's as good as you holding somebody down and raping them, pretty much. You put technology in my body that I didn't consent to. That's understandable, me having an issue with those things. And so when I say the word power, understand that's what I'm talking about. The fact that all of these things can happen to an innocent individual, and all you have to do is be somebody that pissed off the wrong person. It's unfair, and it's unjust, and it's unconstitutional. Anyways, let me continue though, because I could sit here on the soapbox all night long and talk about it. And I'm not trying to. I don't want problems, because I already told y'all how this thing works, and I don't need to tell you if you're a target. If you like I said, piss off more people, even if what you're saying is correct and you're just advocating for yourself, you can still get a beating. I already told y'all, like I said in the last 3 videos I created, my parts 1, 2, and 3 episode at the gym and dating while targeted videos, I told y'all what happened. I was minding my business. I was being mannerful. I was going out catching bus, not being disrespectful. I could see if that was the case. I could see if that were the case. Right? If I were going out to catch bus and I was being nasty and disrespectful to the taxi drivers, right? Or the people on the bus. If I was acting like Miss Snooty Tootie and being a bitch, or going to the gym and being obnoxious, and then they did this, I'd have been like, okay, well, you deserve it. Like, that wasn't the case. I was being mannerful. I was minding my business, going to the gym, working out, leaving, catching bus, going back home, minding my business, y'all. I told y'all already. And then all of a sudden, the insect drone attacks me because I'm listening to a song that has stimuli in it that I've been listening to for months every time I work out. So then I had this reaction where I got upset, and not even really upset. It's not like I exploded. It's not like I said, you mother effers, stop hitting me with the insect drones. Because I'm not going to lie, y'all, sometimes I do be feeling like that. That's the reaction typically they're trying to get out of you with this program. I already told you about the military agent. That was one of my videos that got deleted, y'all. I told y'all that a lot of my videos got deleted last year when the computer I used to use to make my videos got confiscated. That's why a lot of my videos got deleted. Those of you that have been subscribed, you already know what I'm talking about. And there's an update video. If you scroll down some, you'll see it where I talk about what happened with that, right? But there was a video that got deleted that I had uploaded with this former military agent that was talking about the tactics used and how it's designed to get an adverse reaction out of the target. That's how the program's designed. That's why I said it's diabolical. The creator was diabolical. The system that it was being used for, the Nazi system, was diabolical. Why are you using this program? And on innocent people too. Like, that's crazy because you don't like them. They said something offensive. They bared false witness unintentionally. Like, that's crazy. And I know what I'm saying is correct, but at the same time, again, it's not a right or wrong thing anymore. It's not about that. I already told you it's similar. I said this, I don't remember which video I said this in one of my recent videos. I was comparing it to Married to Medicine, right? With Mariah Huck. She's somebody from that show I like to watch. I told you I like to watch that show, right? All of the people on the show had a problem with her, all the women. They just didn't like her personality. I guess something about it wasn't rubbing them the right way, right? Or something about it was rubbing them the wrong way. Let's put it like that, right? So basically Quad, this other lady on the show that they ended up doing the same thing to a decade later, right? Anyway, she and her got in a fight. She and Mariah, they used to be good friends apparently. And Mariah was basically accusing Quad of sleeping with her brother-in-law. Quad claims it's not true. Mariah claims it's true. She claims she walked in I guess, a Quad's apartment or whatever, and saw her wearing her brother-in-law's shirt. This is what Mariah claims. Quad says that didn't happen. So Quad got so mad at the reunion. She's like, you are a liar, girl. You a liar. And then she said, you cokehead snorting ass. That's what she said to Mariah. And so Mariah was like, I never snorted coke, in my life. And Quad said, yes, I already walked in. Are you doing it? This and that, whatever. So all the women sided with Quad right away. Subjectivity, bias, because they didn't like Mariah. They sided with Quad right away. So then Mariah said, you know what, I'm going to do a drug test. So Mariah went and did a bunch of drug tests, y'all, with some reputable drug testing facilities. The drug testing facilities that athletes are sent to. She wanted to prove that what she was saying was real. And so she took the drug test, right? Passed with flying colors. She did the drug test where you have to cut a piece of your hair out. You know that drug test, the hair follicle drug test? They say that's the most accurate one that you can do. And basically with that drug test, when they take the hair follicle out and stuff, that traces back all the way, they say, I think a decade or 5 years, 5 to 10 years back. So that can prove that you've been sober or clean for 5 to 10 years. She took it and passed with flying colors, brought the drug test to the woman. These are all doctors, not all of them, but some of them are. Remember, this is Married to Medicine. So some of the ladies are doctors. Brought it to them, right? They would not open this girl's drug test. All of a sudden they're saying, well, we don't want to get involved, when they realized she was telling the truth. Well, we don't want to get involved, and, trying to point out other stuff that's wrong with her and not trying to open the drug test. Dr. Jackie would not open the thing. She said, well, you know what? I'm not here to play judge and jury. I don't really want to, why aren't you opening the test? All the time they're all putting their mouth in it and siding with Quad, right? And I'm a fan of Quad and I'm a fan of Mariah. So, I'm not really picking sides, but I could see clearly, objectively, right? Because I have no feelings or personal feelings or bias towards the thing. I can look at it objectively as someone with no personal feelings towards it and see that they clearly were siding with Quad because they didn't like Mariah. And so eventually Dr. Eugene, who also was looking at it objectively because he had no personal feelings towards Mariah, he opened the drug test and he said, wow. He said, this is a really good drug test. He said, this is from a reputable testing facility. He said, right down to the picogram. He said, this thing is accurate. He said, these are what athletes do. These are the tests that athletes do. This is the facility that professional athletes go to. And he's talking about how accurate it was, that it goes back to like a decade or 5 years. And so she was like, thank you. So he was able to validate her drug test. But it reminds me so much of my situation with the cyberstalking, cyberbullying situation. I don't want to keep talking about it, y'all, but I keep seeing people subbing me. I haven't talked about it in months, y'all, because of the kind of backlash I got, even though I knew I was dead right in the situation. The amount of backlash I got for talking about that thing. I said, nope. I said, let me stop talking about this thing because right now I'm target and I have no rights at this point. Even though it's not fair, that's the case. That's my situation right now. So I'm like, okay, let me, that thing caused a bunch of backlash. Let me just stop talking about it. I even went as far as to do an apology. And I have not talked about the thing. I've been minding my business. Excuse me, y'all. Going to the gym, like I said, going to work at night, going home, minding my business. But it seems like even that is a problem because I'm gaining weight and I'm looking good and happy. Even that is a problem. I'm not even doing the shit that I normally do. I'm an active, busybody type of female. I'm usually working multiple jobs, like I said. I'm usually in school trying to progress as far as my education goes, or at least doing something that's like a career. I'm doing security and I'm not complaining. I'm so grateful to have this job. I'm making decent money doing this. They actually even not only gave me another opportunity with the company, but they gave me enough hours. I'm working, instead of 5 nights out of the week, I told you I'm working 6 nights out of the week. And so I'm making almost as much as I made as a teacher. I'm so grateful. I'm not complaining. But I have a whole degree, y'all. I graduated magna cum laude. I have a resume full of experience. And right now, all I'm doing is security. And then during the daytime, to keep myself busy, right? I'm going to the gym. Why is that a problem? How is that me being thirsty or seeking attention when I'm just minding my business and trying to be productive? Because I don't want to sit on my ass all day and do nothing? And so then they're harassing me. I already told y'all what happened in my parts 1, 2, and 3 episode at the gym. I explained to you what happened. I'm not about to rehash it in this video. And then the second video, right? I explained to y'all in the first video what happened in the gym, right? And how that created like some sort of weird thing outside of the gym after they attacked me with the insect. And I had the minor reaction that I had, y'all, not even a major one. I didn't flip out, because I kind of went off on a tangent. I didn't say like, mother effers, stop hitting me with the mosquitoes, because I'd be feeling that way sometimes. Like I was saying a little while ago and I went off on a tangent. I do feel that way sometimes. And some targets react like that because that's how the thing is designed. That's how I went off on a tangent. I was telling y'all how the thing is designed. Some targets react because they don't understand how this thing is built and that it's designed to get an egregious reaction out of you. And some people are more physical than they are, what's the word I'm looking for? Like for me, my reaction is more so me using my mouth. That's why in Florida, I shared all the offensive shit I shared. That was my adverse reaction. There are targets that get mad and use their fists. There are targets that get mad and start screaming. That's the kind of reaction they want. And then they can slam your ass in jail. or slam you up in the mental facility and Baker Act you and say you're crazy. You know, things like that. It's a very wicked program. But for me, my reaction before I learned it was saying offensive shit. And that's how my thing went higher and, you know, unfair shit. And then once I learned the program, my reaction now has been making videos, busting down the tactics so they're less effective, and advocating for myself, and they're gaslighting me about it. Hold on, y'all. I need to blow my nose. Hold on a minute. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I had to blow my nose. And roll down the window so I could get some air because it's getting stuffy in here. I know y'all were hearing me kind of probably sounding like a little bit out of breath. Anyway, y'all, so it's just this like crazy gaslighting program where you will literally like try your damnedest to stay out the freaking way, and still you're being antagonized. And even if you have like the slightest reaction to what's happening, they use that as an excuse to punish you. You know, it's like they're supposed to be able to hit you in the back of your head, and you're supposed to be like, okay, you know, and keep walking and not have a reaction. Like, that's how the program's designed. Like, if you turn back around, and this is just an analogy, I don't mean really physically punching them or them punching you. But like, if they punch you in the back of your head, if you turn around and punch them back, you're going to get in trouble for it. That's how the program works. Like, they can do stuff to you and you can't react. You can't even speak on it, or you're going to get punished for it. It's crazy. That's how the program's designed. It's very unjust. That's why Judge Anthony Trenga ruled it as unconstitutional, and it's supposed to be being shut down, but somehow it's still going. Anyway, so anyway, guys, I just wanted to now address again another thing. You know, this is why I said I'm not sure if I'm even uploading this, because this is so irrelevant, to be quite real with you. It's not something that's pertinent, like how I felt the other thing was, you know, the initial thing that started them kind of like shutting down the taxi system on me. To me, those things were pertinent. This is why I had to talk about it. But this is not pertinent as much as it is just irritating, and I wanted to address it. It's not something that I have to address. It's not something that I need to document. But it's just, again, like another, you know, post that's just like completely warped. And I'm like, what side of the story are you hearing? Or what perception what are you seeing? Because this is not the reality for me. What you're writing is not my reality. So I'm just like, again, let's not judge. You're not walking in my shoes. Like, just keep your opinion to yourself is kind of how I feel about it. But at the same time, not trying to, you know, because that you know, I don't want problems. You know, it's irritating when you see certain things. When you see a biased, subjective opinion that's warped about your situation. It's so irritating. You want to just like go in like in attack mode. But at the same time, as a target, you already have a lot of enemies. You know, you have no rights. And so if you talk about something, you know, and you address it too harshly, you can get like a major backlash. Even though the person kind of subbed you first, you know, and I don't want to make more enemies than I've already made. And then two, the thing that I'm addressing was written by somebody, you know, that kind of, you know, I don't want to go into details. Like, I'm not trying to make more enemies, especially not in that area. I'm not going to go into too much details about it, y'all. But I'm going to be talking about this post that I saw on Facebook. And that's what this video is about. So it's really not like documentation like what y'all think. It's not like me documenting something that happened that I feel like I absolutely need to document. It's nothing like that. It's more so just a post I saw on Facebook. I read it. You know, it was at the top of my news feed. I don't read my posts, y'all, because I'm so certain that I'm going to be seeing people sending subliminals with the messages they write, because I'm targeted and there are a lot of people involved. I keep reiterating it's not everyone. I already realized that it's not. But a lot of people are involved, y'all. So I try not to scroll down on my news feed because I just don't want to see stupidness. But this time in question, you know, tonight, this morning actually, you know, I was sitting out there and I was trying to download something. I forgot what it was. I think I was just trying to download stuff to watch, because remember I told y'all I have not yet gotten a chance to buy a new cell phone and get cell phone service. So if I'm not sitting in the internet spot, I don't have internet. And so all night long I sit in my car, and what I do is I have YouTube Premium. I download like a bunch of videos that I can watch in my vehicle, and I'll watch them in my vehicle. That's basically what I've been doing. So I forgot what else. Sorry, guys. I saw my coworker, and so I was just giving him a beep. But what I'm saying is I have YouTube Premium. Give me a minute, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, y'all. I just saw a coworker, and so I just wanted to say hello. This is the same one that had gave me the avocado, so I was just saying good morning, y'all. Anyways, I be feeling bad when I'm going off doing these videos, y'all, but it's literally like it's a reaction. It's reactive abuse. It's like, people sending subs, things happening where it's like I feel like I have to respond. This is not something, I'm being very clear with y'all. This is not something I have to respond to. This is why I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna upload it. It's so irrelevant, but at the same time, I took offense to it. I did. I was like, I do want to kind of address what was said, because I'm like, this is such a warped perception of what's going on. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so this is why I wanted to address it. So basically I was sitting there outside in the internet spot trying to download some stuff. I told you I have YouTube Premium, and I download stuff and I just park up and I watch stuff. And so I'm sitting there, and while I'm waiting for this stuff to download, I just went over to Facebook. I just usually check my friend requests. I'll see if I have any new messages, any new notifications. I try to stay clear, like I was saying, from scrolling through the news feed, because I don't want to see anything with subliminal messaging. And my brain was ticking, right, y'all? That's what that was. Remember I told y'all it's like stuff sometimes pushes in my head randomly, and it's like, I know my thoughts are being projected. It's like this weird thing. I can't even really explain. It's weird and awkward. And really what I think it is too is psychological, because oftentimes when I see people, it causes it to happen more. It's like this, a lot of it is psychological, y'all. Sometimes they can actually push stuff in your brain. I've proven that with my evidence of mind control technology video, and with my diagram of neuromonitoring effects video. Check out the links in my description box and my comment section, y'all. I have links that link to videos that give a lot of information about this program. But I don't think that's what's going on right now. And like oftentimes I don't think it's that. Like I do know that I can't say no like concretely. I don't want to bear false witness. I strongly suspect they have done thought manipulation on me before. I've even documented it in my part 3 gaslighting and programming of the targeted individual video. But sometimes, a lot of times where it's like my brain is ticking, it feels like stuff is pushing in. A lot of times I believe it's just psychological, because I know my thoughts are being projected, and it's just this weird thing that happens. It's a very effective psychological warfare program. It's called soft warfare. To me, from the research I've done, I would almost venture to say it's more effective than actual physical warfare. It's really effective, y'all. Anyway, let me continue. So I was sitting there just kind of waiting for this thing to download. I went on Facebook. I do not go through my news feed. But today in question, I just, scroll down. Like sometimes I'll look at the first 2 posts. That's what I'll do sometimes, like rarely, because I just do not want to see posts with subliminal messaging or subs at me like what I ended up seeing. So today, the first post at the top of my news feed was from, I again, I don't want to give too many details, because then I kind of will reveal, I don't want to make problems either, because I am already, like I said, in like this weird, peculiar situation. But this post from this guy I'm kind of familiar with. Don't know him like that personally, but, from the past, someone I'm familiar with, not like in a relationship kind of way at all. More so like in a working capacity. That's as far as I'll take what I'm saying. And the post, I'm not going to say it verbatim, because if I say the post verbatim, then again, I'll be, revealing who I'm talking about. What I did was I took his post, and I didn't necessarily put it in my own words, but I only took bits and pieces of the post, and then I changed it to some of the words. So I used like a synonym for one of the words he used. Remember I told you they keep trying to gaslight me and throw the word thirsty at me. And I broke down in that video, the part 3. Which video did I break that down in where I talked about the thirsty thing? It was the part 1 video. The part 1 video of the gym episode. Check out that part 1 video, y'all. The part 1 video of the gym episode and dating while targeted. I broke that down very well, y'all. The fact that they impede your dating life, right? They block it all up, and then they'll gaslight you and call you thirsty, right? And it's not even like you're acting thirsty. You're not out there begging for a relationship. You're doing regular everyday stuff. But remember, this is a mocking program. And so the greatest tool that they use against you is coming for your self-esteem, but also mocking you, mocking and bullying and jeering. That's like one of the major tactics that they use. But it's similar to how they call you a narcissist, where they're constantly attacking you, coming for your self-esteem. I showed you how they do it. Check out my part 3 example of shadow networking, right? And AI software used on targeted individuals. Check out the part 3 video. I was showing y'all how they were using it on another target and how they were mocking him as well. So no, it's not just you when they're doing it to you. It's not just me. They do it to all targets. But they'll do stuff like that, right? Like send you videos basically mocking you, coming for your self-esteem, whatever it is that they're sensitizing you to. And then, just, sorry, I heard a noise in the background that threw me off, y'all. But just basically mocking you, like whatever it is that they're using, whatever insecurity it is that they see in you, or they think that they see in you, they'll try to use that, right? And come for your self-esteem and just constantly tearing you down. An example I can give you guys. I told y'all when I go in the car, remember they use the radio as well. Everyone's involved. It's a very comprehensive, all-inclusive program. When I get in the car and the radio, they don't do it anymore. Ever since I talked about it in these videos, they do not. That's the one thing. They do still shadow network. They do still send videos with songs with stimuli in it. Oh, yes. But they don't do that one anymore ever since I broke it down in my videos, right? Especially since they realized it was something that made me feel good about myself. But I told y'all before I had talked about it in my videos, when I would get in the car, they would keep putting on songs back to back about girls that look good with makeup on. So they only look good if they're wearing makeup. Or songs about girls that don't need makeup to look good. And so for me, because of the way my brain works, for me understanding how this program works, I realized that was a tactic to tear me down, because they saw me come in the car looking good and feeling good about myself. And so to tear me down and make me feel bad, they tried to put that song on. Now, I don't even wear a lot of makeup, so for me, again, it was just a compliment. I just clean up nice. I don't put on a lot of makeup. I could see if I had put on like a whole face of makeup. Like those, not to come for those girls, because I have to be careful with what I'm saying. But like those YouTube tutorials where you see that it says transformation as the title, and you see a before picture of a girl that looks nothing like the after picture, and they put like this big, huge set of makeup on the girl, like foundation, concealer, whole face of makeup, and you're looking at like basically a damn near different person after. That's not the case with me. All I do is comb my hair. I put on a little lip liner, y'all, lip gloss or lipstick, depending on what I feel like, and I shade my eyebrows in. That's it. I don't put on foundation. I don't put on concealer. I don't do anything else. So for me, I'm just kind of like, I'm not wearing a lot of makeup. I'm not. You're watching me so hard. I just clean up nice. Some people are like that. And I'm in the car looking nice, and you saw me looking nice and feeling good about myself, and so you tried to tear me down. But what you're really doing is telling me that I look nice today. So thank you. That's why you did that. And so that was more of a compliment to me than anything else, and it annoyed them, so they stopped doing it. They don't throw that at me anymore. But that's just an example. It's things like that, little things like that they constantly do throughout the day, or using the shadow networking AI software to mock and jeer, and send things, subliminal messaging, insulting you. Again, I reiterate, please check out my part 3, example of shadow networking software utilized on targeted individuals, where you see the thumbnail that says mocking through the media or something like that, and you see the guy standing there, you see his back with the blue sweater on. Check that video out, y'all. I showed a clear example of what it looks like when they're mocking you through the TV or through videos that you're watching from your recommended on YouTube. I showed you an example of what that looks like. So they do that all day long, 24/7. And then would gaslight you, right? When you start to focus on your self-image, they'll send you a video saying, narcissists, be careful about these type of people that are constantly focusing on their self-image. I broke it down, y'all. Check out my narcissism video. I broke it down how they're gaslighting you with that. Be careful about these people that are constantly focused on their self-image. When you're constantly tearing down my self-image, and the natural human response would be for me to, first of all, call you a hater, right? That would be my natural response, because why are you coming for me in that way? Constantly, I know I look nice today. You're putting on a song talking about only girls only look good with, blah, blah, blah. You're putting on songs talking about girls that only look good with makeup on. That felt like hating. And so, of course, that would be my response. That's a human response. That seems narcissistic. Or if I now start to focus on my self-image because you're constantly coming for me and tearing me down, you're programming me into acting like a narcissist. And then you're going to gaslight me and call me a narcissist? That's how it is. It's like this program is like, it's designed to gaslight you. Like, get these reactions out of you and then gaslight you about the reaction. And it's the same thing with the thirsty thing. A natural human want is to want companionship. This is what we were put on earth for. We weren't put here on earth to work. If you look out in nature and you look out in the wild, they're not working. Their sole purpose is to mate and procreate. That's what they're here for. That's what we were put here for. We weren't put here to work. This is what humans do. Animals are smarter than us. They're living for free out in the wild, and we're here working to live. We were put here to procreate. So for me to now want that, and it's not like I'm going out of my way to want it. It's not like I'm knocking down on dude's door saying, oh, please date me. Nothing like that. But you're calling me thirsty because what? I'm taking care of myself? Because I don't want to lay on my ass all day because you've sabotaged everything. And, all I can do at the point right now is pretty much security until I get it together. I'm not going to say everything's sabotaged. Let me not say that. But a lot was sabotaged. A lot was impeded. I'm in a peculiar space right now. And so I'm doing what I love. I've always been into athletics. I've always been into sports. I showed you guys in the part 2 video pictures of what I looked like when I was younger in my early 20s. I showed y'all that I used to work out back then too, before I was a target. I used to play sports in middle school and in high school. I've always been into sports and athletics. So this is what I've chose to fill my day with. This is what I found that can keep me busy. So I'm not laying on my ass all day depressed. I'm working out, something I've always loved doing. And I'm healing my body because I went through a lot last year. I lost a lot of weight. I suspect I was hit with energy weapons. I'm healing my body. And also, yes, I'm getting myself back to what I used to look like because you keep coming for my self-esteem. So it's a mix of things. That's not me being thirsty. How is that being thirsty? Thirsty would be me running down dudes. You see me running down dudes trying to get their attention. Like, hey, please date me. Or adding a bunch of dudes on Facebook. I'm getting one set of friend requests. I'm not sending any friend requests. I'm getting a bunch of messages. I know a lot of it is freaking honeypots and gaslighting and gang stalking. But I'm getting a bunch of messages. I'm not writing. I'm not like you. I could see if they saw me hounding down dudes, trying to chase down dudes, and you calling me thirsty. You are gaslighting. Yes, I do want to get married. Yes, I would like to meet somebody. But I do understand that my situation is peculiar. So, of course, I'm not really expecting that to happen at the moment. That's not even on the vision board right now. Although that is something I would like. And I'm not thirsty for wanting it. I'm normal. I'm a normal girl, a normal woman in her early 30s who has every right to want to find love and have children like everyone else. So no, I'm not thirsty for wanting that. So don't gaslight me about that. You're crazy. Anyway, let me read the post to y'all. I'm not going to read the exact post that I saw. But so I told y'all basically, so that's another thing that they do, another gaslighting tactic they've been doing, trying to throw the thirsty subliminal at me, right? I already showed y'all in the part 1 video. I kind of talked about it in the part 1 video, the part 1 gym episode video, how that's gaslighting and how that's BS. So anyways, I see it again. I saw another sub, basically, subliminal, but it wasn't the AI shadow networking. So it wasn't like I was on YouTube and they sent a video kind of trying to, subliminally say that to me. It was literally someone that's friends with me on Facebook that I know from my past. Again, I'm not going to go into detail. I don't know the person that well. And I don't want to really create friction with that person or with where I know that person from. I have enough enemies as it is. And I'm not trying to burn bridges either. I've burnt quite a few. I'm not trying to burn any more. But at the same time, I do want to address this because it's nonsense. And again, a painting of a false narrative and a warped perception. I'm sorry I start to stammer, y'all. I start hearing the ambulance. Anytime I'm about to break something down, y'all, and I'm making sense, they start to do noise campaigns. They try to interfere with the video, etc., etc. Listen, y'all. All right. So I really hope the video picked up on that. I opened my door and just so y'all can hear. Y'all always hear me doing that, right? In the morning when I'm making these videos, they're constantly, look, they have the lights on. The LMAO. Y'all, when they be having the ambulance come through in the morning, they usually don't have all of that going on. They usually don't have the lights flashing and stuff. This is new. That's definitely new. Because typically they don't have the lights and stuff happening. They'll have the person drive by making the noises and stuff, but you don't see the lights happening. Let me park up real quick, y'all, and I'm gonna finish talking about this. I'm parked up, but I'm just moving to another location. Oh, God. Life of a Target boy. Look Yo, y'all, I kid you not, I really wish I could turn the camera on. They made the ambulance park up at the gas station that's near the shopping center that I'm surveilling, that I'm doing security at. This is new. This is absolutely new. Anyway, let me finish, y'all, because I'm making sense. That's what's really going on. Anyway, so if I don't laugh, y'all, I don't know. Like, it's ludicrous. Anyway, so I was, like I said, on the Facebook. I was sitting there just kind of like, checking out my notifications and stuff while I was waiting for those videos on YouTube to download. And so I happened to see the first post on my newsfeed. And like I said, I saw it was a guy from my past, not anybody that I had any romantic anything with. Don't even know the guy like that, to be quite real with you. I worked with him very briefly in my past, but again, just, not wanting to make enemies, not trying to burn bridges. But the post was clearly for me. I have this issue with bearing false witness. I told you bearing false witness has played a contentious role in my targeting. So I'm very wary about making assumptions and making a fool of myself. This is why I didn't take a screenshot of his post, because I was contemplating taking a screenshot of the post and just cutting his name out so that I could address it. But then I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to burn any more bridges. I don't want to make any more enemies. But I'm almost certain that this thing was for me, y'all. So what I did was I took, like I said, a part of his post. I didn't take the whole thing. And I changed a couple words, and I used synonyms for some words. Because he was basically calling me thirsty with the word he was using. So I decided to use a synonym. And again, painting a lie-ass, false-ass narrative. I sat there and I broke down the situation with this dude in so many different videos with this cyber stalking dude. Why I talked about it in the first place. What I went through. I did a receipt video. I did a part 1 and a part 2. Cyber stalking. Evidence of cyber stalking and cyberbullying experience from my early 20s. It doesn't matter, y'all. It doesn't matter what I show. It's just like Mariah Huck. It doesn't matter how right I am. What's going on right now is I'm dealing with subjectivity. I'm dealing with bias. I'm dealing with grudges. I'm dealing with spite. And that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. And I'm also dealing with, you have to understand that this falls under the line of subjectivity and bias. People that are, offended by some of the things that I said. Some of the people that write certain posts or say certain things, I can see why that would be the case. I could see what I said that might have offended that person. Even the part 2 video where I was just, showing the message with that guy. And I was showing y'all that prior to his relationship, I was getting messages from him and I was the one that was cutting the messages off. And you saw what he was saying about the short thing. Like all of these things, little things that I said, offensive things that I said in my past that I've already apologized for. These are things that people will take, personal offense to and not know forgiveness. And so they'll purposely see that I'm right in the situation and still purposely go the other way and take the other person's side just because subjectivity and bias. There's no objectivity to it. They could see the truth in what I'm saying, but because of their own personal feelings towards me, they'll still go with the false narrative because they don't like me. That's really what it is. Because I know I broke down that situation in so many different videos, provided evidence, etc., why I talked about it, what I experienced. And they still want to, like some people at least, want to paint the false narrative or go with the lie because they don't like me or something I said offended them personally. Anyway, so let me go ahead and address this message, this thing here, this post. And be careful about it too, because like I said, I have no absolute proof that it was for me, but there's several things that indicate that it was likely for me, right? Remember, I'm Target, y'all. This thing is trending. It's island-wide. My shit is unique, y'all. My targeting case is very unique. It's viral. I'm on an island where no one else has ever been targeted before. Everybody's privy to my targeting. Not everyone's involved, but everyone's aware and privy to these cameras that are on me and play-by-play what's going on with me. And many people were offended by some of the things I said in my past that I've already apologized for. Excuse me. So understand, a lot of people get involved just off of bias and subjectivity. That's what I'm dealing with. So a lot of it is unfair. Anyway, let me read it to you. So this was the gist of what he wrote. He was just saying basically, stop being thirsty, right? And he put it in all caps. He didn't use the word thirsty. He used a different word. And I used a synonym, right? For attention, relations, delusional love, other people, and or other people's things. Retract and dissipate your thirstiness and learn to get along, love, and be with thyself. It's not hard. This is what was written, right? Let's talk about it. I just bust on the thirsty thing. I don't understand how I'm being thirsty when I've been trying so hard to stay out the way, mind my business, be productive, right? All I'm doing is going to the gym, y'all. I'm doing security at night, and even that's a problem. They're attacking me with insect drones in the gym. I have a slight reaction to it, barely anything. It's not like I screamed out, hey, I could see if that was the reaction, right? If I was like, bitches, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I could see if that were my reaction. Like, bitches, why you keep attacking me with these insects, you bitches, or some crazy ass off the wall reaction. And then I got the backlash I did. Still, it would have been reactive abuse anyway. But I could see if that were my reaction and then they did what they did to me. I simply thought in my head, damn, I should have known you weren't giving me no advice. And understand you have to watch my part 1 video, episode at the gym, to hear the account of what happened, y'all, to understand what's going on and why all of a sudden I'm getting all this backlash again. I just think they wanted to do it anyways. I think they were annoyed. I looked happy. I was working out. I was minding my business and being productive. It was annoying them. And so they antagonized a very slight reaction out of me and used it as an excuse to do all this extra stuff. That's really what it is, y'all. Let me pause this and blow my nose, guys. I'm going to continue to address this post. Give me a minute. All right, y'all. Anyway, so I already broke down the thirsty thing to y'all, right? So I'm not even about to bust it down again. I just was talking about that a little while ago. This is kind of why I was speaking on that particularly, because of this post, right? Now, he said thirsty for attention. I broke that down too, how I've been staying out the way and how they're actually constantly trying to get my attention. I broke that down too, so I don't need to break it down again. He said relations, delusional love, other people and or other people's things. So again, another play off of what I documented in my episode at the gym part 2 video, right? This is another play on that. With the say my name song, and then they started doing all the extra stuff they started doing while I was minding my business, just waiting for a taxi to go to the gym, right? I told y'all what happened in that part 2 video. I don't want to sit here and redundantly repeat what I said, but just to reiterate slightly, I was standing there waiting for bus, y'all. I already told y'all what had happened on Monday, the part 1 video I documented, right? The part 2 video was me documenting what happened on Wednesday when I was trying to go to the gym. I was just waiting for taxi, y'all. I have a playlist of songs I've been listening to for about 2 to 3 months now. They've heard all of them. So obviously this was something they just had planned to do, to antagonize me into a reaction, to beat me for no reason. That's what it is, right? So anyways, I'm just listening to the song as I'm waiting for the taxi, right? And that song comes on, say my name. And I already broke it down for y'all in the part 2 video, what happened, right? How they all started revving by. The insect drone dove by my face, right? Especially for the part where it said, I don't remember verbatim the lyrics, but basically the gist of it was that he's no longer answering the phone for her if somebody new at your place or something like that was the gist of it, right? They started to go ham, y'all. Rev campaign. They drove 2 ambulances by. They dove the insect drone in my face. So of course now I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So first of all, I already know I broke down this situation with the cyberstalking, cyberbullying thing, right? I know I broke it down thoroughly. Why I talked about it, what I experienced, evidence. I know I broke it down thoroughly. And then I turned around and apologized too for the backlash I got from it. Because I came to the realization and the acceptance that although what I'm saying makes sense, although they know what I'm saying is true, they are subjective and biased. There's no objectivity to it. I am Mariah Huck. And so I came to that realization and that acceptance. I apologize for mentioning his son, which I talked about why that happened too in the part 2 video and several other videos. They introduced his son into the equation first. But anyways, I apologize for that. And I apologize for the fact that although I know I'm right in the situation, I realize that he has a family. And so that takes precedence over it all. So even though I'm right, and I went through what I went through, he has a family and that takes precedence over it all because innocent children are involved. And so I said that and I apologized and I stopped talking about the thing. I have been behaving, y'all. For months I ain't talk about that thing, after the apology. I have been staying clear of it. They keep trying to egg me into a reaction with the shadow networking. I know what they're doing in the fusion centers. The people that are controlling the technology on my internet, like my YouTube and such, purposely sending stimuli and false narratives about the situation because they realize that I might respond, right? They know I might respond and then get these people riled up here on island. I've been purposely, look, they have the cat drone running around the tree now, and they're gonna rough by. They are such liars. This is why I keep saying it's subjectivity, y'all. This is why I keep saying that. I have provided so much evidence. They are such liars. It's crazy. And it's not even at this point lying. It's just straight up freaking disregard for the truth. They know the truth, y'all. And they will purposely still paint the false narrative because of bias and subjectivity. So now that they did the rev and the cat drone, did the little donut around the tree, let's talk about that situation. I don't even want to talk about it again. I'm so sick of it. It makes my stomach turn. But let me talk about it again, y'all. Because I don't know what false narrative was painted or what lie they're telling, but I know they saw the truth in everything that I said, right? So let me tell y'all what's going on. So first of all, with that situation, I told y'all I was at fault for what started. This guy and I spoke years ago in my early 20s. I'm 32 now. Damn near a decade ago was when this thing started. When I met him via social media, right? Instagram. I broke down the story in so many videos, y'all. It's so freaking nauseating to keep talking about it. And I know it doesn't matter what I say. They know I'm right and they're just going to purposely keep going against the grain and acting like I'm wrong just because it's me. I'm Mariah Huck and they are Quad. And the ladies around that didn't like Mariah. And the drug test is the evidence that I keep providing that they're acting like they don't see and not opening. That's what it is. So me wasting my breath again talking about it seems fruitless. Sorry, I'm just rolling down the windows to get some air. Don't want the video to be too long either. I really wanted to address this stupid post. But now that they did that, I almost want to address that situation again. Very briefly though, because I've talked about it in so many videos, y'all. I don't want to even talk about the shit again. I'm sick of it. I actually tried to stop talking about the damn thing. And then they did what they did on Wednesday, what I documented, where they did the Rev campaign for the Say My Name song and the ambulance is driving by and then they made the Hummer dude come and, gang stalk me and then no taxis were coming. And that's what made me talk about it again in my video and just show a little tidbit of evidence from the video, the part 1 evidence from my cyber stalking and cyberbullying situation in my early 20s. That video is full of evidence, y'all. I only showed that little part because they gave me so much backlash for it in the past. But I'm like, nah, after what they did on Wednesday, I'm like, nah, they need a reminder or something. And that's what made me show it. And they used that as an excuse to shut down the taxi system. I just feel like they wanted to do that, y'all. I'm telling you. Check out my parts 1, 2, and 3 gym episode videos. Anyways, so with that situation, I met that guy, like I said, almost a decade ago in my early 20s. I was like 22, I think, or 21 when I met him. Very young, like a decade ago. And this was around the time when I was living with a roommate that I talked about in my full story. That, more than anything else, is what I regret talking about. Because with that situation, excuse me, sorry, y'all, I just ate a lot of food. Remember I told you I'm meal prepping and stuff. And I'm working out actively during the daytime. So it's the wee hours of the morning. And in order to fit all of my meals in, because I'm trying to be in a caloric surplus, not to go off on a tangent, I'm having to, eat at work too, to get all the meals in. And so right now I'm just kind of, I have acid. If you've been keeping up with me, I have acid reflux. So it's like I'm, and I'm talking like this and stuff. And then it's like I always have a live audience too. So that causes, a certain level of angst. So this is why I kind of sound how I sound right now. Anyway, I'm trying to take it slow and just relax. But anyway, so this was like, the only person I kind of regret talking about in my full story is my roommate. Because the things I said about her, I had no concrete evidence of. Those were more speculations. And I didn't accuse her. It was an insinuation that I made about her. I didn't accuse her. And I made it very clear, even in my initial how I became a targeted individual videos that got deleted. I made it very clear that I have no proof that this girl did anything to me, but I feel this way because of ABC, and I talked about what happened. I talked about some of the things we saw in the apartment, what was going on, et cetera, but out of anything that I talked about, any situation or scenario, that one I truly regret because I realized that, I didn't have absolute concrete evidence that girl did anything to me. So for me to talk about her, and some of the things that was going on in that household, although the intention was to show why I thought she had done something, that was still wrong because what if she didn't do something? And I talked about her like that, and talked about some of the stuff that happened. Never said her name, never told them who I was talking about, but still, I acknowledge I was wrong with that. With him, I don't feel bad about I keep saying that. I really don't. I can't, I almost feel like now I have to lie and say I feel bad about it to appease the masses so they'll leave me alone. But I truly don't feel bad about it. The only thing I feel bad about is the fact that he has kids, the fact that I brought up his son, and the only reason I talked about his son was because they played against me with the son's name on the pool game twice in the same hour. And so I just talked about that in addition to the other things I had already been talking about. But I don't really feel bad. I'm a real person. That's why I said it's irony that they keep trying to paint me as liar when my realness is what keeps getting me in problems. I'm not the kind of person to sit and tell lies. I'm not. And I'm having trouble sitting there and saying what they want me to say to appease them. Oh, I feel bad about it. I don't, because I know what I dealt with for years with that situation. And then it started manifesting itself in my targeting. I don't feel bad about talking about it. And I don't know, I can't, I'm not a fake person, man. I can't sit here and fake to make them feel good about it. Anyway, so basically what happened, after I met him, I was having the issues with the roommate. And like I said, I feel bad about talking about the roommate, but y'all already know what happened with her. I already bust down what happened in my full story. It's too late. It's already out my mouth. I already said what I said about the roommate. Was having the issues with her. Things were really volatile. Not really volatile. That's not like the correct word to use, because volatile would mean like we were probably in there having physical fights and stuff. It wasn't volatile. That's not the correct word to use. It was toxic. That's what it was. The situation with the roommate was toxic, and we weren't good for each other. That living situation wasn't working, and the friendship, it started to disintegrate. She had a lot of issues, and I wasn't mature enough to handle what she had going on, is really what it is. And then also too, you could say, and this I can acknowledge, I was probably a little bit judgmental in that friendship, and not necessarily because of her lifestyle, because I keep reiterating it had nothing to do with what she was doing. It was more so like feeling like she was lying about certain things, like very serious things. And that's what led to the judgment that came from my sister and I. Anyway, I don't want to go into the details about it, y'all. If you want to hear more details about that roommate, you can check out my full story and or my more details video. And you'll see the thumbnail that says more details, and you can hear more stuff about that roommate. But I really try to, for real, try to steer clear about talking about her, because more than anything, that's what I genuinely feel bad about. Anyway, so nonetheless, I was having the issues with the roommate and things were toxic. And that was around the time when I met him, coincidentally enough. Shortly before moving out of the apartment with her. And things were like just kind of toxic, like I said. And my sister and I realized we didn't want to live with her anymore. And then that was like around the time when I met him. He wrote me on Instagram. I told y'all already at that time, I had created an Instagram because of my roommate. She had an Instagram and she just kept telling me, like, get her in. Both her and my sister, really. They were both harassing and haranguing me, telling me to get social media. My sister had Facebook and my roommate had Instagram and Facebook. And actually, my sister had Instagram as well, but she didn't really like utilize the Instagram like that. She was more so of a Facebook person. My roommate was who was really actively on Instagram at the time. And so I remember them both haranguing my head because I was never the kind of person to be on social media like that. I didn't really care about it. And they just both kept harassing me about it. And so I was just like, oh, okay. I finally caved in and I let the roommate help me create an Instagram, which wasn't hard. I'm tech savvy. I know how to deal with that type of stuff. She just showed me a few things and then I created it for myself, really. And so what she did was, after we created the Instagram, she took a picture of me because we were going out a lot at the time before things got really bad. She took a picture of her and myself, like we had got ready to go out somewhere, and she posted it on her Instagram. And so that was where a lot of my followers came from. Like, they saw my picture and they came over and they followed my page. And then from there, it just built up and built up and built up, and I got more and more followers. And so at the time, I just put up a few pictures, still not taking it serious, even though I had the Instagram. I didn't really care like that. I was just, like I said, literally just doing it because my roommate and my sister kept haranguing me about getting social media. So anyways, I started to have the issue with my ex, and, him leading me on or whatever, which was my fault. I acknowledge that. That was my fault for sure. And so after that kind of happened with the ex, where, if you listen to my full story, you'll hear what happened with my ex, y'all. Again, another thing that I don't want to redundantly repeat in this video. But just know him and I were together for about a year. I broke up with him because I wasn't ready to be in such a serious relationship at such a young age. And then fast forward 2 years later, I ended up talking to him again. He ended up taking my virginity and then leading me on, kind of like, it almost felt like revenge. That's what it felt like. But it could have just been that, at that point he wasn't into it anymore because of the fact that I broke up with him initially. And so he just decided to use me or whatever. But it was the way he was doing things. It really felt like there was like a level of spite to it. So it did feel like, it really felt like a get back. It really did. Anyway, so he was leading me on basically, and I was very like back then, like this goody two shoes type of person, and I was like I wanted to give my virginity to like the person I was gonna marry, and very close minded and sheltered back then. And so I remember it feeling like the end of the world at the time. And I don't want to talk about the whole thing too much, but even as it pertains to this post, I believe there was a sub here about him too in this post here that I was addressing. Because I wrote the poem "Love Thyself" for my ex, the one that took my virginity. Anyway, so he ended up leading me on basically, and that was when I really started to take the Instagram seriously because I was trying to get his attention. So I started putting up like a bunch of thirst trap pictures. I'm a very photogenic girl. Most girls are. It's not hard to take a nice picture. And back then too, I was fit. I was working out. I was taking care of myself before I started to look really busted and started losing weight and depression or whatever because of him. So I was taking pictures and, I'm trying to get his attention, thirst trap pictures, and I got attention, but not just from him. I was getting attention from whoever, men on how it is, like when you have Instagram and Facebook and you're a girl and you take thirst trap pictures, it's really not hard to get men in your DMs and under your pictures. And so that's what started to happen. I started getting like a lot of likes on my pictures, and I started having a lot of guys in the comment section and a lot of guys in my inbox and the DMs, and that was how I met the dude. Literally, it was like so many dudes there, and it's just like I don't know what made me pick him. It was just like random, kind of, it's like something about the way he wrote me. I keep saying it just seemed different, and he was an older guy too. He's like about a decade older than me, so maybe that's what it was. It was the lure of an older guy, I guess, maybe. But it's like something about the way he wrote me just seemed like caught my attention, and so that's what made me end up, kind of like more so honing in on his message than anything else. So I remember just kind of writing him back and then not calling him. Like he put his number for me to call. I didn't call. And he came back about like 2 or 3 weeks later and said something else, wrote me again like I forgot about him. I said, well, let me just call this dude, or text this dude, whatever. And so I called him, ended up talking to him, ended up liking his personality, realizing he was a cool person, kind of having like that kind of friendship chemistry over the phone. And so that's what led to him and I talking. And so him and I, started talking and, getting close or whatever. And I started to feel comfortable enough with him to tell him things, like come out of my shell and start talking to him and talking to him and talking to him and telling him all my business. And so this is where I started kind of like spilling the beans about what was going on with my roommate, because I did not know that he knew who she was. Or, I mean, he claims he didn't always know who she was, but at the time when I realized he knew who she was, this is what made me start to accuse him. You're going to hear how the accusation started. Because understand the accusation I made, although I was wrong for making it and for making assumptions, I've clearly said that in like every video. It wasn't completely meritless, my accusation. It was not like completely like bonkers, the accusation I made. It's understandable why my train of thought was that way in a way, but it's just the fact that I had no concrete proof that what I was thinking was happening. And so it was just kind of like, oh, whoops, oopsie. But anyway, so I remember like, around the time when him and I started talking, that was like around the time things were really toxic with the roommate, and like around the time I was moving out from living with her. And so I was venting to him, like how you do with the guy you're talking to that you trust. I'm not sitting there thinking, just to tell you, I'm not like this paranoid type of person that just accuses people of craziness. Even though he and her had, and this is also too why I thought it was a setup, y'all. He and her share this, and this is also too why a lot of people are holding a grudge on me because of an ignorant comment I made about this nationality. But anyways, he and her share the same nationality. So although we're all from the same island, remember I told y'all in several different videos that this island that I live on, look, the ambulance driver. Y'all, as soon as I start talking about that, the ambulance is driving by now. Anyway, this is crazy. This is wild. Anyway, even though I've apologized, y'all, they just don't know what forgiveness is. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. I said that thing so many years ago, y'all, in my early 20s, and I've apologized for it. But anyway, so him and her share the same nationality. So although we're from the same island, I've told y'all in several different videos that this island is like a big melting pot. It's similar to Florida. You know how Florida has like a bunch of different people with different nationalities and ethnicities? You can meet like a Cuban, a Colombian, a Jamaican, a Trini, a Haitian, like every freaking thing you could think of in Florida. It's kind of similar to how this island is. It's like a big melting pot. You have a bunch of different island nationalities and other nationalities in general here, right? I already told you I'm half Trini. My father is from Trinidad. Well, similar to how my roommate and this guy were, they share the same nationality. So even though they're from this island, their nationality is from a different, I'm not going to say the island, you know, because I already like got backlash for the stupid thing that I said years ago that I've already apologized for. And it wasn't even that bad of what it was bad, but it wasn't like terrible what I said. It's not like I said everyone from the island is stupid, or you know, some crazy shit like that. I didn't say nothing like that. I just said they were ignorant. And I only said that out of anger towards it was what I said was ignorant. That's the irony of it all. Because I was saying, I was basically, you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? My goodness, I'm tired, y'all. I was categorizing a whole group of people, basically. There's a specific word I'm looking for. But basically, I was categorizing and lumping a whole group of people into one category because of my feelings towards two people of that nationality. Three, actually, because the guy from high school had that nationality too. The guy from high school that I told you I was really good friends with, him and I were best friends for like 3 years, and I thought he was my first love, blah, 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 the stupid story. Anyway, so that was really where that stupid ass thing that I said came from. It was from my experience with three people of that nationality. I lumped a whole category of people together because of that and said an ignorant comment. I said that they were all ignorant, people of that nationality, which again, like I said, is irony because me making that comment was ignorant. I've acknowledged that, y'all. I was young. I was in my early 20s. I was angry when I said it. I've already apologized. People are still holding a grudge. They just don't know what forgiveness is. You know, I didn't say anything off the wall super crazy about that nationality. But still it is offensive what I said, and I acknowledge that. Anyway, so what was I saying though? So anyway, so she and him share that same nationality. And so that's also partially why I thought it was a setup, you know. And so this is, now I'm going to get to the story, y'all. And I've already talked about this before. So some of y'all are probably like, oh my God, she's telling this story again. But you don't understand, they're not letting it go, you know, because I know why I talked about it in my videos. They painted this big false narrative. I got, you know, all the backlash. I apologized and I stayed clear of talking about the thing. And then randomly on Monday, they start gaslighting me about the thing and creating something from it again. I didn't do anything. It was them. What happened on Monday? Anyway, so, and they're still painting like lies and false narratives. This post says it all. Like, this post is so subjective and warped. You know, you have a warped perception of the whole thing. I'm like, did you hear anything I said in my videos? Or are you just purposely going with the false narrative because you have your own subjective feelings towards me yourself? Anyway, I'm gonna get back to this poster, y'all, because I'm going off in a tangent, but it's because I heard the noise campaign and I saw the cat drone when I was talking about false perceptions and false narratives about the thing. You know, like they're trying to say that I have a false you know, painting a false whatever about it, when I've provided evidence showing that I'm not, and they know I'm not too. It's really not that, y'all. Again, it's the Mariah Huck syndrome. They just don't like me. That's what it is. It's subjectivity and bias, period. Anyway, so, you know, now the video is going to be super long when we telling the same story I've told in like 10 different videos. And now here I am talking about it again because they keep antagonizing me and won't leave me alone about this stupid shit. Anyway, what was I saying? So basically, you know, they had the same nationality, which didn't make any hecklers go up, didn't make me think anything. I wasn't thinking anything suspicious. Hence the reason I was telling him all her business, because I trusted him. And I was basically just venting to him. It wasn't like I was sitting there gossiping about her. That's not what it was. It was more so like, I trust you. You're a guy I'm talking to at the moment. I'm venting to you about what I'm dealing with a roommate. That's what it was. It was more so, I'm venting to you. This is a guy I trust. I'm talking to you on that level. Hey, this is going on with my roommate. You wouldn't believe it. Blah, 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 blah. Come to find out now, after I move out from living with her, you know, I want to say like a good almost a year in of us talking, or at least 7 to 8 months in, he randomly comes to me, y'all, one day. Hear the revving now. Listen, y'all. That's to tell you, what if it really was a setup? That's what I'm saying. That's crazy. You know, and then they're gaslighting me and making it like I'm wrong for certain things, and it really was a setup. What if? Wouldn't that be bonkers? Plot twist. Wouldn't that be a plot twist? You know, like painting it like he's this innocent person, like I was so wrong for my accusation that I was right the whole time. Wouldn't that be a real plot twist? That's crazy if they would have gaslit me like that and I was right the whole time. That'd be insane. Anyway, let me blow my nose, y'all. Hold on. At least the time is going by. Y'all, I'm just sitting here taking an exasperated breath because you have to understand how exhausting it is to repeat the same story over and over and over and over. I know you're making sense. I know that it doesn't matter because Mariah Huck syndrome. You know, it's irritating. Anyway, that's why I said I came to peace with it, you know. I already told you that I kind of came to the understanding that that's what's going on and I need to just stop talking about it. And that's what I did. And so for them to now do what they did on Wednesday, excuse me, where they did all that gaslighting because the song Say My Name came on and then made the Hummer dude pull around and gang stalk me. And then I wasn't getting a taxi. I'm like, well, then yes, I'm going to talk about it again. Why are you bringing it up again? Anyway, so so I forgot what I was saying. So anyway, so after I'm moving out from the roommate, him and I were talking like for a good year or at least 7 to 8 months, and I don't remember the exact timeline, but a good while, right? And I had already done exposed whatever about what was going on with the roommate, all the stuff that I talked about in my full story and my more details video that was happening with her that was causing the friction in the first place. Never told him her name, never revealed to him who she was. Like I said, he's a good decade older than us. So I didn't really feel like he knew who she was, although they share the same nationality. We're all from the same island, but him and her are from the same island. You know what I mean? So their background comes from the same island, which is not the island that we were all born and raised on. Just like how my dad is from Trinidad, although he's here on this island that I was born and raised on, that kind of way. And so, even though that's the case, I didn't really feel like they would have known each other, because like I said, it was that age gap. Not such a major age gap, but still enough of an age gap to where I'm like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't know her. I just wasn't thinking that way. And I didn't say her name, so I wasn't concerned either. I didn't say her name. So anyway, so after he revealed, one day he came to me while him and I were talking. He said, hey, your roommate, what's your roommate's name? So-and-so? And so I was like, yeah, I immediately, my hecklers went up. I was like, yeah, how do you know that? And so he told me some roundabout story that somehow he was on Instagram and somehow he ended up on her page, ended up scrolling through her pictures, scrolled all the way down in her pictures to the point where he got to a picture of my niece. Understand it was an old picture. Because at this point, like I said, it was about a year or at least 7 to 8 months after moving out from her. So any picture she had with my niece would have been an old picture. And she actively posted on Instagram just like how I did. So understand that what the picture he was talking about was far down on her page. So I'm just like, immediately my hecklers went up. So I'm like, you coincidentally ended up on her page. You didn't know her name, but you coincidentally ended up on her page. You scrolled all the way through her pictures and you happened to notice a picture of my niece and put 2 and 2 together that she was my roommate. Like, to me at the time, now in retrospect as an older woman, I can acknowledge that that could have happened because it's a small island and it's a small circle of people, y'all. And a lot of people know a lot of people. And he's one of those people that knows a lot of people. And they share the same nationality. So they probably have a lot of mutual friends. So it wouldn't have been impossible for him to stumble across her page, go through her pictures, and just happen to notice the picture of my niece. But for me, I was just like, it just seemed odd to me. I'm just like, okay, so you ended up on her page. You coincidentally scrolled far enough down in her pics. You were looking that hard that you scrolled down far enough that you saw a picture of my niece. Like, to me, that kind of just made me suspicious. I was like, and you know who she is now. Like, I don't know. It just, at the time, I just couldn't put it together in my head that made sense. So understand my accusation wasn't completely meritless. Something suspicious did happen, but still it wasn't concrete enough for me to like start accusing him the way I did. And I can acknowledge that now as an older woman. At the time I was young and I was immature. I wasn't really a paranoid person per se. I'm paranoid now after everything I've been through. But my hecklers went up and I immediately started to go into defense mode. So I was like, wait a minute. I was like, so you just found her page randomly? I said, how you found her page? And I don't even remember how he told me he found it. But I was just like, this is not making sense because I know on Facebook, you know how on Facebook, you can see mutual friends, like they'll have recommended friends floating at the bottom. At the time on Instagram, they didn't do that. They didn't have that. So I'm just like, how did he find her page? Like, to me, it was just like, I couldn't wrap my mind around it at the time. And so I remember just really thinking he was setting me up. And so I started moving accusatory towards him. And then all these dots started connecting in my head. And I was like, wait a minute. They're both, this nationality. And I was like, wait a minute. This, I just started making a bunch of connections in my head, y'all. And I started to feel like this man had probably been a setup the whole time. I was like, damn, they took it far. We were talking for a long time. I was like, damn. I was like, shit, she really set me up is what I felt like. It's what I felt like at the time. And so I started to move like this kind of accusatory way towards him. It's not like I was being like a complete bitch towards him. But I did start to move accusatory and suspicious towards him, but stupidly still kept talking to him. Because you have to understand at that time, at that point now had been quite a while of us talking. I had grown accustomed to talking to him. It was like a virtual escape because I was really in a stupor from what had happened with my ex, and actually was still actively being led on by my ex while I was talking to him, actually. It's this thing where at that point the ex would like reach out every few months, and I would stupidly bite the bait, and just stupidness that was going on with him. So I was just like, this virtual escape that I had kind of gotten accustomed to, like this listening ear that I had gotten accustomed to. And so it's like, even though I suspected a setup, I didn't have concrete evidence that that's what was going on. And so I didn't, I should have cut it off, and I didn't. I just kept talking to him. And so him and I, ended up talking on the phone in this virtual capacity for, 2 years and change, about 3 years, right? So anyways, I ended up coming to Island now to meet him. I didn't come to Island to meet him. I actually just moved home because things were going really bad for me in Florida. I talked about this in my full story, y'all. This was shortly before I became a blackout drunk. Understand that. I had already started drinking before I came home, by the way, but I wasn't a blackout drunk yet. I don't know what I'm hearing. They're acting like they haven't heard this story already. This is why I said I know they're not listening. That's why they keep going with the false narrative, because they're not really listening to what I'm saying. You're revving by like you haven't heard this story a million times. Anyway, it's so frustrating, y'all. Anyway, so this was shortly before I became a blackout drunk. At this point, I had started drinking. Before I came home, I started drinking because of my ex. Like, I was completely devastated at the fact that he took my virginity and I could not get him to act right. Like, he kept leading me on. I was like, oh my God, when is he going to get, like, I kept thinking in my head that he was going to start acting right and he was just punishing me, and he would not start acting right. Like, he was just literally doing what he was doing, leading me on and, playing up with me. So anyways, that was going on. I talked about in my prior videos what was going on with school. I was literally like one class away from graduating and getting my associate's degree. But because I failed this math class 3 times in a row due to my ADD, I lost my financial aid. I had a 2.7 GPA, grade point average, or an 80% grade point average, a passing grade point average. One class away from graduating, getting my associates, and then I was supposed to go on and get my bachelor's. This was what led to me taking a break, y'all. That's why I didn't get my bachelor's until age 28. I went back to school at age 26 after the drunken episode, the 2 years of being a drunk. I cleaned myself up, went back to school at age 26, and then I got my bachelor's degree, graduated magna cum laude. But anyway, so this is what led to the big break that I took. It was because I got kicked out of school. Not kicked out of school. I didn't get kicked out of school. But I lost my financial aid, and I didn't know that I could use the ADD as a disability. Now my mom knows that, so she, she's been able to use it with my brothers, and it's helped them. I don't mean to say too much in these videos, but they have like their classes that they struggle with too, or their class, whatever it is that they struggle with. With ADD, it's like you're good at certain stuff, and then if you're not interested, it's really not about being good at stuff. It's about focus. Your brain is in sleep mode and you have trouble focusing on things. So unless it's something that you're interested in, it's very hard to focus. And so that's typically the class you'll struggle in. So like I have a sibling that struggles in English because that's not interesting to him. For me, that's what I've always excelled in because I like writing. For me, my struggle was math. It's not interesting to me. I just thought the concepts were useless. I always felt that way. And so that was always my struggle. Anyway, so that's what was going on. We didn't know that we could use that as a disability. And so I do remember my mom advocating and trying to fight for us. Like, come on, she has a passing GPA, she's about to graduate, whatever. And they said it doesn't matter, because they were doing something called the completion rate, this new thing that they were doing at the time. And because I had failed that math class 3 times in a row, my completion rate went down. And so that was what led to me losing my financial aid. And basically the only way I could have gotten back into school was if I paid for that math class out of pocket, and it cost like $1,000 and change, which now doesn't sound like a lot of money, but back then I didn't have it. If you've listened to my full story in my prior videos, you'll have heard me say we were struggling at that time. It was my sister, myself, and my brother-in-law. We were living in a townhome. My sister wasn't really working at the time. My brother-in-law was. I was working at Walmart. So we didn't really have it like that. And my parents couldn't really help me at that time either because my younger brother had cancer. So all of the funds and stuff was going towards his care because he had cancer at the time. So it was just really a bad time, man. It was a bad time. I was depressed. I was out of school. I felt like I had messed up royally because I was literally about to graduate, and because I felt like I couldn't take this math class seriously when really it was the ADD, but I felt like I couldn't take it seriously enough. Lost my financial aid. I couldn't afford to get back in school at the time. The ex was leading me on. I couldn't get him to act right. I felt like that was my fault too, and it was. So I was just like in a low state, and I had heard this guy that I'm talking to virtually I didn't fully trust. I felt like could possibly been a setup, but I had already grown accustomed to talking to him and to that virtual fantasy escape, whatever, right? And so that's really what that was, and him and I just had a good chemistry over the phone. And so that's kind of what led to that thing carrying on for the amount of time that it did. So anyways, I came home because of what was going on, not being in school, struggling financially, depressed about the ex. I had started drinking, wasn't a drunk yet, but was well on my way. When I came home was when the drunkenness started. And I was really skinny. At the time, my sister and I, when we moved out from living with the roommate, we started eating almost like a vegan diet. Not totally. But we were eating healthier because my sister had started getting sick, which is also partially, I don't want to go into the details about it, y'all, because I regret what I said, but partially what made me suspect the roommate had done something. We found her underwear in my sister's room. My sister had started getting sick. Just a few things that I had made us all start to suspect that she possibly did something. And so when we moved out from her, my sister and I changed our diet up. We were going to church, etc., etc. So this is why I was so skinny. I was eating like basically a vegan diet. I had started drinking on top of it, and I was really depressed. And so I came home in a bad state. I was really skinny. I had black circles around my eyes, like the true depression look. And that's what was going on. I wasn't in my best state. And so I ended up meeting up with this guy. And it wasn't the plan to meet up with him either. That's just kind of what happened. I was moving home anyways. And so we ended up meeting up, of course. We were talking for so long. It's like, you're going to meet up with this person, right? So I met up with him, and I got a horrible vibe from him the first time, and I'm just keeping it real. I don't want to offend anybody with the things that I'm saying now, because I keep getting backlash for the things I say. So I'm just trying to be honest with y'all. I'm an intuitive person, and I did not get a good vibe from him the first time him and I met up. I just was not getting a good vibe. There was a bad energy there, and I think also largely a part of it was the fact that I kept being accusatory towards him. So it kind of had turned into like this joke thing, right? That situation, even though we still had, I can't really explain it. We still had like this thing going on where we've been talking for so long, and that connection was there, that friendship. It still like was this joke thing because I was so accusatory towards him for so long. It's like, why would I continue to, even I have to question, why would you keep talking to somebody so long if you don't trust them, right? That's stupid. I can acknowledge that. And the only thing I can tell you is at the time, that was a virtual escape for me. I was going through what I was going through with my ex. I was really depressed. I wasn't in school anymore. And there was this virtual escape here for me. So even though I didn't fully trust it, it was still something that I was using as an escape. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, so that's what happened though. Like, those feelings obviously were still there about me being this accusatory person towards him, right? And so I met him in person. I wasn't getting a good vibe, which is understandable. I've already acknowledged that. I acknowledge that. I can acknowledge my fault in things. I don't mind if things had went awry and he moved this kind of way with me. I wouldn't have been upset about that. It's what happened afterwards that is my argument. That has been my sole argument. People are acting like they don't hear what I'm saying. I acknowledge my wrong in things. I acknowledge why the thing went to the pooper. I get it. Yes, I'm using that stimuli. I get it. That's not my argument. My argument is what transpired after, for years after. It's like this freaking ridiculous ass punishment similar to the text message. 4 years of you doing this shit to me because I sent a text? It's similar to that. I'm just like, it's overdue in punishment. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, so the first time I met up with him, I didn't get a good vibe. And I went to his house a second time, or his dad's house, whatever. And still same thing. I didn't get a good vibe. I went in his room. He tried to put on Animal Planet because I told him I like nature and I like watching animals and blah, blah, blah. I laid on the bed and I just kind of felt like, I don't know. I just felt like this vibe. I can't really explain it. First of all, I felt like he might have been recording me. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it was just this weird energy. I can't explain it. I'm very intuitive, y'all. I'm very intuitive. That's all I keep saying. I'm intuitive. And I can feel, like, literally, like, you don't even have to say anything and I can feel your intention. That's why I was trying to explain to y'all. I felt when the Hummer guy, not to bring him up, I felt when he started to turn into a gang stalker. I felt it. Like, I can't really explain, y'all. I can feel things. I can feel it. Anyway, so the second time I met up with him was still a bad vibe. First of all, I sat on the couch before I even went to his room, and his dad was sitting on the couch opposite of us and just staring at me and not really saying anything. He said goodnight, but then he was just staring at me like this kind of looked like I was crazy. Like, I can't really explain it. The dad was giving me a look like I was crazy. And so I was just like, this is a bad situation. I was like, I was too accusatory towards him. It's just not a good vibe. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to continue it. It's not good. And then also too, y'all, I'm all about vibes anyways. I'm an awkward person. I told y'all that already. It takes like a special type of personality, obviously, to get along with me, especially when it comes to dating and things like that. Look, they're flying the drone in my face now with their stupidness. Whatever. It's never been an issue before, my targeting. You're targeting me now because I sent a text and you're holding grudges about offensive stuff I said, but I've never had an issue with dating before. I'm just not the kind of girl that can date just about anyone. Like some girls can just date any dude and have chemistry or whatever, and you're just dating a bunch of different dudes. Like, the kind of personality I have, I don't have chemistry with just about anyone, especially not in-person chemistry. Because you can easily have chemistry with someone over the phone, but in person is a different thing. That's a whole different ball game. Look, the cat drone running across the thing now. I don't care. Oh well, that's how I am. It's how the Most High made me. It is what it is. So anyway, so yeah, I was just getting a weird vibe the second time, and I went in the room and he laid down behind me, and I was just feeling really uncomfortable, and I flew up out the bed and I made an excuse to leave. I think I told him I had left food on the stove or some crazy shit like that. I don't know what I said, but I flew up out of there. I was getting a bad vibe the second time, and so I was just like, I didn't want to talk to him anymore. So I literally just wrote him a message, and I told him I was getting a bad vibe. I don't even think I said, but I think I was trying not to offend him. So I something about the vibe was off. I said something about the vibe being off is what I was telling him. Homeboy started to passively aggressive, send me all kinds of offensive stuff, sending me memes. I showed y'all in the evidence part 1 video about my looks, coming for my looks, like I look like a has-been actor drug addict, coming for my looks. He was sending me stuff about people being crazy, subliminal stuff about people being crazy, all kinds of stuff. And so I straight up went in on him. I didn't send anything subliminal. The thing about it is with me, and I think you realize this now if you've been listening to my videos, I don't beat around the bush. I'm a very real, straightforward, blunt person, which has been a detriment to me in a way. But I don't beat around the bush. So I didn't send him subs. I didn't send him subliminal anything. I just straight up came for this man. And that was like the biggest mistake I could have ever made, because I didn't know that many people down here. I never had enemies. I was never the type of girl to have enemies. I was always laid back, got along with everyone. I had friends. My sister and I used to go out. We had a little circle of friends, and we were known on the go out scene. We used to go out a lot back in the day, but still not known to the capacity that this guy was, where he just one of those kind of jovial, gregarious type of guys that gets around island and knows people. So it was just like the worst thing ever for me to come for him of all people. The worst thing ever for me to talk to him in the first place and be accusatory. Like I picked the wrong one. You know that saying? Like you picked the wrong one? Like I did. And I felt it. I felt the consequence of that decision for years to come. So anyways, my God. So I just said a bunch of offensive, horrible stuff to him. And one of the things that I think a lot of people are holding a grudge against me for, certain guys or whatever, was me coming for this guy's height. Because one thing about me, and I've already apologized profusely for saying that. It was out of anger what I said to him. That was one of the mean things I said, was coming for his height, because he's not even that short. Like some people might, subjectively, if you're looking at it, height's a weird thing. You can look at it subjectively. There are certain heights where universally everyone would say it's short, but then there are certain heights where it's like it's arguable, and some people might consider it to be average height, while someone else might consider it to be short. Like for me, a man that's 5'9", that's short to me, but some people might call that average height. I'm a tall female. I'm 5'8", so that's arguable. A guy who's 5'2", everybody's gonna say that's short. So for me, I'm used to dating taller men. I do not have an issue with short guys. The mean stuff I said to him was just that, out of anger. I was just trying to bite back. He bit at me and I was biting back. And it's understandable why he bit at me. I was accusatory towards him. We met up in person. I said I got a bad vibe. I get it. I understand. I get it. I was wrong. I get it. I don't know if I need to paint it on my forehead. I was wrong. I get it. What I'm arguing about is how far things went after. For years, setting me up and sending honeypots and all the crazy shit that happened for years. You thought I deserved that? Like, that's what I'm arguing about. That's my argument right now. That's my only argument. I don't care about how the things didn't work out. I don't care about the fact that after the fact, okay, maybe for like a year or a few months, I couldn't date some guys. Like maybe they were like, okay, this is a bitch or whatever, however they felt about me. But years after, to the point where I left in 2018, I went to school, right? I went to get my bachelor's degree, and I showed y'all the evidence about what happened with Kadan. They hacked my POF, my Plenty of Fish dating website. because I did start using dating websites when I went back to school, y'all, and I talked about why that happened. I'm hopping all over the place. I'm going to get there in a minute, y'all. Hold on. I'm going to get back there in a minute. Let me just finish what happened with this guy, because I'm telling the story again because it seems like they need a reminder, because I know they know what happened. I know I've talked about it in several videos, but they keep acting like they don't know what happened, and I know why they're doing it. They're subjective. They feel like I was a bitch to him. They feel like I accused him unnecessarily, and so they feel like I deserved everything that happened to me. And that's crazy because, again, for years, I reiterate, for years, hacking my dating website in 2018, you think that's normal? The thing happened in 2014, you know, when I met up with him and whatever happened. That was in 2014. In 2016, in the part 2 video, evidence of gym episode, this man was still sending me messages, passive aggressive messages, by the way. He wasn't being a complete asshole to me. So when I say passive aggressive, I don't mean that I mean just that, passive aggressive. So that means he was sitting there writing me messages like, hey, bitch. You know, he wasn't being aggressive. He was being passive aggressive. So those messages that I showed you in my part 2 gym evidence video, that was passive aggression. Him talking about going to the chiropractor and he's almost 5'9". If he unbends his back, he'll be 5'9". Like, understand that was passive aggression because of the things I said to him about his height. Anyway, so that's what I was saying though. Yeah, I went off on a tangent. He's 5'9", so he's taller than me. I'm 5'8", so it's not even like he's shorter than me. It's not a big issue. That wouldn't have been a big deal to me. I was just trying to say mean stuff to him because I am typically used to dating taller men. That's just an insecurity within me. I don't have an issue with short men. Actually, short men are probably nicer than tall ones for all I know. I'm not judgmental towards short guys. I don't have a problem with them. It's literally it's not you, it's me type of thing. You know, when somebody says that, as cliche as that sounds, it's not you, it's me. When it comes to shorter men, I just have an insecurity. Not all girls do. There are girls my height and taller that date shorter men and they don't have an issue with it. That's just a little quirk with me. I've always felt insecure about being a tall woman. I like it. You know, there are perks to being a tall girl. I like it. But there's also an insecurity that comes with that. And so for me, because I'm a strong female, I'm very strong. I'm tall. I'm athletic. I want somebody that's manly. That's how I've always felt. I want a guy that's bigger than me. That's how I've always felt because I've always been into athletics. I've always been into sports. My father's a big guy. I mean, he's smaller now because he's elderly. But back in the day, my dad used to actually bodybuild too. Genetically, he's just naturally built, but he used to work out. They used to call him big chest. You know, so this is what I grew up seeing as what it looks like. You know, typically they say like girls will typically date a guy like their father, or men will date a woman that's like their mother. They said that's typical. So that's really what it is. You know, I notice all of my sisters are like that. My sister, my older sister, she doesn't really care about height like that. She's a little shorter than me. She's like 5'7". We're all tall women though. My younger sister's taller than me. She's 5'9", right? So we're all tall. But one thing I noticed that we all typically like is muscular men. And I think that's because of our father. I think that's, you know, kind of dating what your father looks like a little bit. But then with me, it's also because I like athleticism. And so for me, when I see a muscular man, that shows me that, okay, well, you're interested in the same things as me. And so what that kind of translated into was me liking bigger men, not just like muscular, but taller. Because the muscularity thing doesn't matter. Yes, that's something I'm attracted to. If I did have a type, that would be it. But that's not necessary. I've dated skinny guys. I've dated heavyset men. That's not really a requirement. I'm not like that vain where looks matters, everything matters. You know, like I don't care about that stuff. The one vain requirement I would say that I've ever had was the height thing. And that's a me thing. That's a my bad on me because of my insecurity with being a bigger female, with being a strong female, a tall, powerful female, an athletic female. I've always liked bigger men because of that. So that's what it is, really. You know, it's an insecurity on me. They keep trying to be passive aggressive and making noise because I'm saying, you're not making me feel bad. I love what I see when I look in the mirror. I love the fact that my arms are naturally toned. I love the fact that I don't have to do much to have muscle tone. I love the fact that I'm athletic naturally. I love that. That's good genetics. So you're not making me feel bad when you make noises about that. That's what men have always complimented me about. So you're not gaslighting me with making noises. I'm not saying what I'm saying to offend anybody. I'm just being candid that because I'm a stronger female, This is how I was naturally made. I'm looking for that equal counterpart when I date. And so, not to say a shorter man is not stronger. That's not what I'm saying, because you know how they keep like misconstruing the things I'm saying. I'm just saying that for me, I would feel better in a dating situation if the man were bigger than me. That's just how I feel, because I'm such a strong female. Like, I don't want a shorter dude. Like, I might freaking boss you around. I might end up like slapping you around or whatever, because I'm a big, strong girl. Like, do you really want to try to handle this? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like bigger men. That's all I'm saying. So it's not like an offensive thing to short guys. I don't have an issue with short guys. It's just really more so like an insecurity within me, where I've always felt like I'm a bigger female, so I felt like I needed a bigger man. That's just how I've always felt. But I'm not like vain where you have to look like this and your face has to be like this and you have to be like, I like muscularity, but you don't have to be muscular at all. Anyway, so it's just a height thing. That's always been a thing, but it's never something that I made offensive. You know, it's never anything that I insulted anyone about until him. You know, and really, again, it was just reactive abuse. I was just responding to the memes. He was sending me some offensive shit. You know, like I look like a has-been drug addict and, you know, offensive stuff he was sending me, and I guess teasing me about, you know, the stuff where I was being suspicious and saying I was getting a bad vibe and stuff. He was just teasing me. And I understand it. I get it. You know, I understand. You know, I understand I was wrong in that situation. I get it. I've always acknowledged that. It's just what happened after that I didn't agree with. So anyways, after that, oh boy, that was it. That was it for me on dating on Island. Everything after that was disingenuous. You know, a bunch of honeypots being sent my way. I was showing my family when it was happening. You know, a bunch of guys in my inbox. It was no longer genuine messages. All of them talking about great, and bullshit and sending me pictures with their eyebrows up and all this weird stuff. And the eyebrow up thing, y'all have to listen to the full story to hear what happened with that. I used to take pictures like that. Like, I used to take, I don't know what it was with me. Like, it was just like, I don't know why I did it. I really can't explain it. It was this cheesy, quirky thing that I did back then when I would take pictures. I don't know. It was just happening naturally. Like, I wasn't doing it on purpose either. It was just like, I just used to and I even noticed it. And so before things went bad between him and I, he used to tease me about the fact that I was always putting my eyebrow up. That turned into my you could say gang stalking, because although I wasn't being gang stalked when the cyberbullying was happening, it was gang stalking activity. You know how they send honeypots your way when you're a target? That's similar to like what was happening to me when I was being cyber stalked and cyberbullied. Hence the reason they hacked my dating website and sent the honeypot Kadan after me. He happened to be a lawyer that worked at FIU. Check out the part 1, evidence of cyber stalking and cyberbullying. Evidence of cyber stalking and cyberbullying experience from my 20s video. Kadan happened to be a lawyer that worked at FIU. Remember, I told the guy that I either wanted to be a lawyer, a teacher, or a chiropractor. Kadan fit everything that I was looking for. He was athletic. He worked out, right? You know, he was in law school at FIU. He was into holistic health. Everything they knew I liked. This man was the perfect thing. Everything that I could possibly want in a man was Kadan. So just check out that video. Yeah, I broke it down. I'm not about to go into the details right now. But just understand, after that, for years, I was cyber stalked. For years, I was cyberbullied. For years, here on Island, I couldn't genuinely date a man. And they know what happened too, because so many of them were involved. You know, a lot of them weren't, obviously, but so many of them were. I know they know what I'm saying is true. I know they know. That's the true stimuli of no. Anyway, so then it went so far, like I said, that it actually left the island. In 2018, when I went back to school for the second time, the Kadan situation, they hacked my dating website. Plenty of fish. I showed the evidence. In my evidence video, my sister confirmed it happened, both of my sisters. They hacked my dating website and sent Kadan the honeypot. And him and I were talking, you know, not long either, for like 2 weeks. And I realized he was a honeypot and that they had hacked my dating website somehow. And I sent him some pictures from my Facebook. I just took a screenshot of a couple old pictures, 2 to 3 years old. And I texted it to him. And then I noticed, like, I'm just hearing laughing in the background when I'm talking to him, and him just just weird stuff. I was getting a weird vibe. And I remember when I was getting off the phone with him, he said, not goodbye. When I told him goodbye, he said, not goodbye, but see you later. And that was the thing I used to tell the dude, because I had an OCD. I didn't do it anymore. Obviously, that's why I told Kadan goodbye. But I used to tell him, I don't like saying goodbye because I have this OCD where it feels permanent. Like, goodbyes to me feel permanent. Well, back then it did. I don't care anymore. It was like this OCD I had. Look, the ambulance is driving by now. I don't care. Anyways, I'm going to still continue telling my truth. They get mad whenever I can expose what's going on, y'all. When I can prove my point, it pisses them off. You know, I could go over to the internet right now and show y'all the Kadan evidence. It's all in the part 1 video, y'all. I'm wary about pulling up that video because they really give me backlash. Look at Reverend By. Every time I put on that video, they give me backlash. But then stop insinuating it's a lie then. Stop insinuating bullshit. Stop gaslighting me, and then I will stop pulling up the video. Actually, I stopped talking about the situation. I've already come to terms with the fact that this is a subjective situation. You have your bias. You're not going to support me. I'm the Mariah Huck. Basically, I get it. I don't care anymore. I stopped talking about it. So why did what happened on Wednesday happen? I wasn't talking about it. I haven't talked about it in months. I've been behaving. Why did they do what they did on Wednesday? They just wanted to shut down the taxi system, man. That's what it feels like. Anyway, so the Kadan thing happened, y'all. And like I said, I screenshot those pictures. You know, my story never changes either. That's how you know it's true what I'm saying. My sisters confirmed it happened. I have the evidence. I showed you an email where Kadan was writing me because I had abruptly cut him off. And I wrote him a big LOL. Who does that? Like, I'm not a freaking Looney Tune. Why would I randomly write him LOL? You know, like, they know what happened. They just don't like me. I'm telling you. Now they have the gang stalker that walks and pretend like he's shaving walking by. Remember I told y'all I was plucking my chin a couple of nights. And so they have this gang stalker that they be making walk by with a razor acting like he's shaving. Like, it's just pure bias and subjectivity, you know, with this thing. They know I'm right, you know. It's literally the Mariah Huck syndrome, y'all. Anyway, this is why I stopped talking about it, because I realized that already. I'm smart enough to realize that. But not only that, I came to the realization, too, in selflessness, that although I'm right in the situation, he has a family and innocent children, and that takes precedence over my situation. And I came to that realization. I stopped talking about the thing, y'all. And then all of a sudden they did the stupid shit they did on Wednesday. I'm like, what the hell? Why are they doing this? I haven't been talking about the thing. Why are y'all doing this? I'm painting a big false narrative, and it pissed me off. And then the gang stalking, the taxi not come in, and the Hummer dude pulling up on me and all this. I was like, no, I'm going to talk about it. I'm like, they asked for this. Like, I'm going to talk about it. I have not been talking about the thing. Anyway, so sorry, y'all. I see somebody driving through the shopping center. Anyway, so, oh my God. Anyway, so that's all it was, y'all. It was just years and years of me being cyberstalked, cyberbullied. It went so far that they hacked my dating website when I was in Florida. And all throughout while it was happening, I was getting messages from the guy. Passive-aggressive messages. Not him running me down. Not him trying to be with me. Not him trying to link up. Just passive-aggressive messages to let me know that he was aware or privy to what was going on and haha, bitch, that kind of way. It was what it felt like. He didn't say that. I'm saying it was passive-aggressive. So to the naked eye, it would just look like a genuine message. It wasn't. You know, and I already broke down in my part 2 gym episode video, those messages that I showed you from 2016, which was 2 years after him and I met in person, that was what those messages looked like. It was passive-aggressive. Him talking about going to the chiropractor and they're going to bend his back so he could grow an inch. Like, that was all passive aggression, y'all. That's the type of stuff he used to do. Anyway, so that's what happened with that situation, y'all. And then so I never talked about it. I never took a screenshot of any of the things he sent me. You know, I never took a screenshot of, you know, of the things that I talked about and put it on Facebook. I took screenshots, but I didn't put it on Facebook. If I was the home record that they claimed I was, you know, there are certain things that was sent that I could have took as nothing sexual, nothing like that, because they're going to take that the wrong way. Sometimes, you know, that I don't want to mention because I just apologize for talking about that thing in my videos. I could have took a screenshot of that and put it on my Facebook and said, hey, let this do this in my inbox, sending me this and that. Like, I didn't do anything like that. That's what a home wrecker would do. I never put videos up about this guy or anything like that. I never put anything up. I never made a video about him or even a post on Facebook. I wanted done with the situation. I wanted no parts of it. And it kept following me and following me and following me and harassing me. It reminded me so much of the Cardi B meme where she said, once you beef with me, we beef forever. Like, that's what it felt like with that situation. I was like, oh my God, are they ever going to stop? I'm like, it's the point where they're hacking my dating website and I'm in Florida in school. You know, that's how I felt. And so I'm like, now you're going to tell me that I'm the one that's holding on to the thing. And you're going to make it seem like I wanted him. This is what I'm saying. Like, if I wanted him, then I would have been actively answering his messages and trying to heat up the thing, right? I would have been trying to meet up with him. You can see in the part 2 video that how the messages looked in 2006. And you can see I was ignoring him. I didn't even want to talk to him. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying it's like I was getting a vibe, like, you know, a bad vibe. I could tell that he was being passive aggressive. I could tell it was bullying. You know what I mean? I could tell it was bullying. So I'm just like, I wanted you to leave me alone. I wanted to be left alone. That's all I'm saying. So it wasn't me carrying on the thing. It wasn't me haranguing and hanging on to the thing. It wasn't me. I left in 2018 and they hacked my dating website, my POF. So it wasn't me. I wasn't the one holding on to the thing. I could go right now over there to the internet spot and pull the video up, but then they will give me backlash and then something else will be shut down on my ass. This is what they do. Anyway, so the video is there. The evidence is there. But anyway, I'm done. I'm not talking about it anymore. I've been done. I was done. I wasn't talking about it anymore. It's just they did what they did to me on Wednesday randomly for no reason. You know, I could see if I had started talking about the thing again randomly and then they did that to me, you know? Or if I did something to insinuate something about the situation, they did that to me. Then I'd be like, okay, damn, you messed up. I was minding my business, going to the gym, happy I was gaining weight. I didn't talk about that thing at all. It's been months. I did the apology. I was done. I was like, I'm never talking about that thing again. All of a sudden, they do the weird shit on Wednesday. It felt like a setup. Like they did it to insinuate a reaction so they could shut the taxi down. That's what it felt like. Anyway, so understand why I talked about it, y'all, because for years they were setting me up and stuff, and then it started to manifest itself in my targeting. What happened is in that neighborhood with his family, I already explained to y'all what happened, right? Before I ever made videos, I wasn't even planning to make videos. Even after his family was involved in my gang stalking, I wasn't planning to make videos. I was planning to leave Island and start over. I didn't even feel like I should have to leave my home because I was born and raised here. But I was like, okay, you messed up with the text message, right? You sent it and they took it way too far, right? It's created this weird shit on Island. Yes, I'm using that stimuli. Just start over. Because I have that propensity to do things like that, like to just keep going and not let things shut me down. Like, that's how I am. I was just going to leave and start over. I had a good resume. Let me not say had. You know, the targeting makes things kind of difficult. But I have a good resume. I graduated magna cum laude. I'm like, I could just leave and start over anywhere. This shit followed me. Come back, more gang stalking in that neighborhood with his family and the people in my close circle. I was like, man, I'm going to tell my story. Because at that point, I realized I was a target. That was when the video started. And they started gaslighting me about the videos. And for talking about that situation, when his family was literally allowed to be a part of my gang stalking. After I was already set up for years about that situation. Don't you think I'm going to talk about it? Are you kidding me? You know, I was in the mirror getting ready when I was still a teacher in the bathroom, and they're outside making freaking horse noises while I'm putting in clip-ins in my hair. I used to flat iron my hair and put in clip-ins. They're outside the window making horse noises. This is the passive-aggressive stuff they used to do. Every time I'm in the mirror getting ready, they're outside making noises. You know, they took the current, the turmeric mask is dripping down my face. I go on the porch. Someone in my close circle is in the bush laughing with his dad. This was before I made videos. And then I get gaslit for talking about it. No, I didn't talk about it because I want him. I don't. If I did, I would have been running him down when he was messaging me. I talked about it because I was cyberstalked and cyberbullied for years. And then he was, I'm not going to say him because I didn't see him personally. Let me not make up stuff. His family was a part of my gang stalking. So yes, I talked about it. It's a part of the spiritual journey or battle I've been through since my early 20s. That's why I talked about it. And then after they gaslit me about it and I got so much backlash for talking about it, I started to go ham and feel like I had to prove the thing and, you know, started providing evidence and all this other crazy shit. And I got more backlash for it. The more I provided evidence and stuff, the more backlash I got for the thing. So that was where I was like, okay, Sharifa, you need to come to terms with the fact that I didn't think the Mariah Huq thing back then. I just recently made that analogy. But basically that, you know, it's a subjective situation where people are holding bias and grudge. It doesn't matter what you show or how right you are. It's one of those type of situations where you're just not supported. Stop talking about it. And that's what I realized. In addition to the fact, like I said, that he has a family, and that takes precedence over my own personal feelings and over the fact that I'm right. And so that's why I stopped talking about it. I said the apology, I was done. I was never going to talk about that shit again, you know. It's been months. Then randomly on Wednesday, they did the shit they did by the shanty that I told y'all about in the part 2 video. The Say My Name song came on. The drone is diving in my face. Then they start to rev by on the road. Then 2 ambulances drive by. And so I'm like, what the hell? And then I'm still standing there realizing no taxis are coming. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So then another song comes on. The song I showed y'all, the Yeah Yeah song. And the part that said, I hurt you and you want payback, all I thought in my head, remember my thought is being projected, I was like, this is more accurate. That's what I thought in my head. This is more accurate to how the situation really went down. That's what I thought in my head. They start to rev by more crazy. Another ambulance drives by. And then all of a sudden the dude for the Hummer pulls up and starts gang stalking me. So that's what made me talk about it again. Because I really wasn't going to. I'm so done with that situation. I'm so sick of it too. So leave me alone about it. Let me just go about my business. That's all I was doing. I was going to the gym, working out, minding my business, coming home, going to work. Leave me alone. Don't insinuate stuff about it, and I will never talk about it again. I'm done with it. If you're done with it, I'm done with it too. It's gaslighting. Anyway, so my God, like, y'all, I'm sure this is like 2 hours long now because of the bullshit. Me addressing that stupid shit that I've talked about in like 10 different videos at this point. It's crazy. Look at that, an hour 48. I haven't even really addressed the stupid post on Facebook that I was really supposed to be addressing. Anyway, so this post, I already broke down the thirsty thing and how that's bullshit, right? And I broke down the other people's things because, again, he's running with the false narrative about that dude and this bullshit. And I just broke it down. And then he said, retract and dissipate your parchiness and learn to get along. You know, the learn to get along I've been trying. Like I said, I have been staying out the way, y'all. I've been catching bus to the gym. I've been being mannerful. What more can I do? I've been being mannerful to the taxi people, so kind. Mannerful to the people on the bus. Mannerful to the people in the gym. Working out, going home. And that's it. I'm not being rude or disrespectful to anyone. So what do you mean learning to get along? What do you mean? You can clearly see what's happening. You're just being subjective. Again. Because clearly I have not, now I'm sounding like a bitch. Now I'm sounding like I'm venting because I'm irritated. Well, what happened when I wasn't doing anything? Again, reactive abuse. So I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and then, and be with, thyself. This was where I really realized the post was for me. When first of all, he used the word dissipate, and I just recently used that word in one of my videos. I actually said it wrong. I said dissipate, and then I said, sorry, y'all, I'm tired. I meant to say dissipate, and I corrected myself in the video. So the fact that he used the dissipate, the fact that he was using the thirsty or parched word, in addition to, you know, the context of the message, but then most importantly, this last part is what made me realize this was likely for me, but I don't want to make assumptions. This is why I did not take a screenshot of his post, and this is why I changed, you know, some of the words, and I didn't take the whole post, because I can't concretely prove that, and I don't want to, again, make assumptions and end up in problems, even though, like, you know, I'm likely right that this was for me. The last part was really what set it home. Him saying, learn to get along, love, and be with thyself. The love part, remember my poem, Love Thyself? And he capitalized the thyself. Remember my poem, Love Thyself, y'all? If you check out if you scroll all the way down, y'all, on my YouTube, you'll see, excuse me, I'm out of breath, y'all, I'm sorry. You'll see a poem titled Love Thyself. And I told y'all I wrote that poem for my ex. And that was when things were going really bad with him and I. And he was leading me on. Felt like he was just using my body or whatever. I wrote the poem Love Thyself. I'm not delusional. It wasn't a delusional love. It wasn't that I was having trouble loving myself. Actually, it was. That's why I wrote the poem. I acknowledged that. That's to tell you I wasn't in delusion. I was very cognizant of what was going on. What it was I messed up in that situation. And then after things transpired between him and I, where I actually did, you know, go all the way with him, he got revenge, basically, on me. And it wasn't delusion. What it was me now trying to fix where I messed up and realizing that I needed to love myself and let that shit go. I realized that. That's why I talked about it in my poem. So you don't need to write a post telling me to learn how to love myself. I did. Loving myself was letting the situation go. Loving myself was taking care of myself. And actually, you know, a long time after I had trouble with loving myself. This is partially what led to the alcoholism, obviously. I've been very candid in my videos about my journey, y'all, and the things I've been through. I did have trouble loving myself after that situation, and it was my fault to begin with. I came to terms with that, and I got myself together. I love myself. So you don't need to tell me that. I've talked about it in my videos. So this post is subjective, it's biased, and it's really not making sense. You know, I think you just have whatever biased feelings you have towards me like everyone else, and you're having a warped perception of the situation like everyone else. Not everyone else. Let me not say that. Because I truly believe there are people out there that see truth in what I'm saying. Because I know what I'm saying makes sense. I think there are people truly out there that are objective and not subjective in the situation. But you're one of those people, I think, that have a warped view on things and probably have some subjective feelings towards me, bias, personal bias, because some of the offensive things I said, and you wrote this post. And so I decided to address it, y'all. Not trying to really be disrespectful, not trying to make more enemies, but I really felt like this was for me. And the reason I felt so too was because when I read it, they started to rev by like crazy on the road. And it stood out to me, the end part where he capitalized the thyself. And I remember I capitalized my poem, Love Thyself, where he said that, and love thyself. You know, I'm just like, this is fitting too much into the narrative of what's being spun. This has got to be for me. You know, and if it's not, still I want to address it. Anyway, that's why I made sure not to take a screenshot of his picture or anything like that. His post. And I didn't take the post verbatim either, but I might as well have. Anyway, so that's it, y'all. I just want to address this and address the stupid situation again. Because I keep still getting gaslit about the situation. I've proven the point. You know, I've proven my point, more than proven my point. Not only that, I've provided so many evidence videos, got backlash for all of it, came to the realization that I'm Mariah Huck, basically analogy. I'm not going to be supported, it doesn't matter how right I am, and let it go. And I did. I haven't been talking about it. It's been months. And then they randomly just did that weird thing they did on Wednesday. You know, and it just kind of felt like, you know, almost like the setup type of thing, like to get a reaction so that they could cut the taxis down. That's what it felt like. I'm just being real. Anyway, so I'm addressing it, y'all. I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace out.